Hello everybody! Welcome to a new video. And today I am gonna react to the entire story of Ninjago from start to end in 23 minutes by toon. Okay, let's go.
Ninjago, the best Lego cartoon of all time. In this video, I will try to recap all 15 seasons and 200
I always come back.
Enrique! 10 episodes of Ninjago. In the video, I will tell you the stories of the ninjas, the greatest enemies they faced, and the legendary finale of the series. Whoa. If you watch this video from start to finish, you will understand the whole story of Ninjago. Okay. Now, let's get to the video without further ado. Most of you know the story of the first Spinjitzu master who created Ninjago, but our story goes back much further than that. The story begins with
14,884 years ago. Damn! This guy big. That's a long time ago. Jesus Christ.
in the first realm, home to the Oni and the dragons. The Oni had the power to destroy, while the dragons had the power to create. The two species were locked inside an eternal wall until a child was born to both Oni and dragon. Even bigger fights broke out as the two species fought over who would get the child. The boy did his best to stop the fighting, but in vain. Realizing that this fight would never end, the boy decided to leave the land. The boy fled to another land that was covered by the ocean and consisted of several islands. But in this land too, the fighting continued. A giant sea serpent named Wojira controlled wind and water powers that the boy did not have. If the boy had not cooperated with the islanders and the people of Merlopia to defeat Wojira, the realm would have been destroyed. So the boy gathered the inhabitants of the two realms together and attacked Wojira. But they could not stop Wojira until a water elemental master named Naiad merged with the sea and removed the two jewels from Wojira's head. In this way, they sent the monster into eternal sleep. After Wojira fell asleep, they gave two talismans. They gave one to the islanders and the other to Merlopia. The boy became known as the first Spinjitzu master.
It's locked in. It's locked in. Let me do it for you. Jawline.
Jitsu martial art he created. The first Spinjitzu master climbed the Golden Hills to create the Temple of Light and 4 golden weapons infused with his own powers of fire, earth, ice, and lightning. He used these weapons to create a landmass and named it Ninjago, where he would live for the rest of his life. Sometime later, several Oni built temples in Ninjago to watch over the master of Spinjitzu.
Bro, where's this pig monster face? Bruh.
In time, an ancient evil gained power to oppose the first Spinjitzu master. This evil was known as the Overlord and created an indestructible stone army. A great battle broke out between the first Spinjitzu master and the Overlord. Fearing the loss of his new home, the first Spinjitzu master split Ninjago in 2. One remained Ninjago.
Is that the Jinjang thing?
Island, where the Overlord and his forces were exiled. Subsequently, the Crystal Realm was created by the first Spinjitzu master for easy travel between the 16 newly formed realms. People and snakes began to appear around Ninjago. These snakes were called serpentines. The first Spinjitzu master had 2 children. We don't know how. They were Wu, who had the elemental power of creation, and Garmadon, who had the elemental power of destruction. The first Spinjitzu master created the Green Ninja Prophecy, which stated that the Green Ninja would end the war with the Overlord. The Dark Lord was planning his next move on the Dark Island and eventually decided to use one of the first Spinjitzu master's children as a means to return to Ninjago Island. He then made a deal with a snake, which bit Garmadon's hand and injected him with pure evil. This snake would later become known as the Great Devourer, but it would take years for this evil to overtake Garmadon. The first Spinjitzu master trained his sons in elemental powers and Spinjitzu, and then created the Forbidden Spinjitzu, which must not be used by anyone. Wu met a serpentine girl named Fira, and the two became very close. Wu taught her spinjitzu, but Fira used it to overthrow her king and become ruler of her people. Realizing his mistake, Wu managed to stop Fira using the forbidden spinjitzu scrolls and Garmadon's help, and locked her up. However, Fira vowed revenge. A few years later, the first spinjitzu master passed away in a tomb that housed the Crystal Realm.
Damn.
The location of this tomb was kept secret,
Rest
and the
in
only
peace.
clue to its location was hidden in Wu's wand. Garmadon was appointed guardian of Ninjago, and the golden weapons were shaken with grief. Garmadon went his own way, leaving Wu alone in the monastery. Elsewhere in Ninjago, a pirate named Captain Soto and his crew were to embark on a voyage to find the Dark Island. However, another pirate crew and its leader would come into After several battles, Captain Soto sealed the weapon in a teapot and exiled his crew to different realms. After their ship sank at sea, Captain Soto and his crew continued to search for the island until they were killed. Sensei Yang created a new martial art called Air Jitsu. Yang tried to achieve immortality using the Sword of Yang, but he cursed himself and his students by turning them into ghosts. High in the mountains, elsewhere, a new kingdom called Shintaro was found. A talented engineer named Dr. Julian built a mechanical child whom he raised as his own son.
Hey, it's Zane!
While Wu stayed at the monastery to train his own students, Garmadon found himself training with Master Chen and another student named Klaus. One of these students was Moro, a descendant of the Wind Elemental Master. Wu trained Moro to become a Green Ninja and fulfill the Green Ninja prophecy, but Moro was seen as worthless by the golden weapons, and this angered him. He made bad choices to prove Wu wrong and left the monastery after
Is bro Sonic? No.
falling out with Wu. Misako and Wu became close, and Wu began to have feelings for Misako. Misako wrote him a love letter, but Lord Chen intercepted it and tricked Garmadon into signing it himself. Chen also had feelings for Misako. The Serpentines created their own prophecy. A figure known as the Golden Lord would rise and destroy everyone in the world.
Why is there so many
He
people?
abandoned it. A war broke out between snakes and humans. Wu and Garmadon led the Elemental Alliance. This group was made up of masters of different elements. One member of the alliance came from a powerful snake species called Anachondri. Chen manipulated the Elemental Alliance, causing some members to turn against their comrades. Sacred flutes were discovered to control the Serpentines, and these flutes were used to imprison Serpentine tribes in separate tombs. Toward the end of the war, the Elemental Alliance won, and the Anachondri leaders were exiled to the Cursed Realm. Master Chen and Klaus were also exiled to an island. After the war ended, Chen's manipulation led the twin elemental masters of Time, Crux, and Acronix to lead a rebellion against the Elemental Alliance. Ray and Maya, elemental masters of Fire and Water, forged the four swords of Time with Garmadon and trapped the twins' powers inside the blades. They used the blades to send them through a time rift where they could never be found. The twins entered the rift to avoid being lost in time. However, Crux returned to the same time period and started hiding one of the time blades. At the same time, Wu hid it in a place called the Boiling Sea. Garmadon's letter reached Misako and the two started dating. Eventually they got married and had a child. However, Wu did not know that his brother Garmadon had betrayed him. Elemental masters began to settle around Ninjago and had children of their own. They also passed on their powers to their children. In the process, Moro died in his quest as his soul crossed into the Cursed Realm. The new master of the Earth element fought a dragon called the Griefbringer in Shintaro using two swords, which he then gave to the two species living there, the Geckos and the Monads. He then returned to Ninjago. The king of Shintaro, King Vangelis, soon sent 3 adventurers to the caves beneath Shintaro to retrieve an ancient skull filled with demonic powers. The adventurers retrieved the skull, but were forced by the king back into the caves, where they disappeared. So the king used the power of the skull to enslave the Geckos for months. The Great Devourer's poison completely corrupted Garmadon, turning him completely evil. Garmadon tried to steal the golden weapons to reshape Ninjago, but Wu intervened. The two brothers fought using the golden weapons. Garmadon got the upper hand, but before he could finish Wu off, the defensive spell on Wu's chest activated and hit Garmadon with a bolt of lightning. This caused Garmadon's body to be disfigured, and he fell into Ninjago's underworld. The Skeleton King and his army of skeletons approached to attack Garmadon, but Garmadon vowed to take revenge on his brother by taking control of the skeletons. Wu knew his brother would return, so he hid the 4 golden weapons in Ninjago and placed a dragon to guard each one. He drew a map and gave it to Ray, a fire element master to keep it safe. Ray and Maya had children of their own and often chatted with a new friend. This new friend turned out to be Crux in disguise, and he kidnapped them, but they left their 2 children alone in the blacksmith shop. These children were Kai and Nia. The lightning master abandoned his son in the junkyard, where a couple took him and raised him as their own. The earth element master fell ill and later died, leaving her husband and son. The ice master found himself lost in a forest, but by chance he met Dr. Julian and Zane and realized that his time was over. The ice master gave his powers to Zane before he disappeared. Eventually, Dr. Julian grew old and passed away, resetting Zane's memory by turning off his memory switch. Samukai, following Garmadon's orders, revived Dr. Julian and kidnapped him to make him a tool for the skeleton army. Julian refused and was instead locked in a tower in the middle of the ocean. Misako gave birth to her child and realized his potential to fulfill the Green Ninja prophecy. Since Garmadon was the potential Dark Lord, she left the child at a boarding school to seek another way to fulfill the prophecy. A few years later, Wu realized that he was too old to stand up to Garmadon alone and set out on a journey in search of new elemental masters of earth, fire, ice, and lightning. Wu found the earth elemental master on top of a mountain. He quickly recruited Jay, the new lightning master, and found Zane again. The 3 began their training at the bottom of a lake, but they had one more person to find. Kai, the new elemental fire master, worked with his sister Nia in their family's blacksmith shop. At first, he refused to become a ninja, but after his sister Nia was kidnapped by skeletons, he trained with Wu and joined the team. They found 3 of the golden weapons, but the skeletons took them to the underworld. Garmadon forced Kai to take the last weapon to save his sister. Kai did so, but Wu stepped in to take the sword and went to the underworld.
Bro, it's just a chill guy.
The ninjas safe. The ninjas went to the underworld and were surrounded by skeletons, but they used the tornado of creation to fight them. Samukai took the sword from Wu and tried to betray Garmadon with 4 weapons. But when he couldn't have them all at once, the weapons exploded. This created a portal to the Kingdom of Madness through which Garmadon passed. Garmadon's son Lloyd was expelled from boarding school and freed the Hypnobrai Serpentine tribe. They too betrayed Lloyd and opened the tombs to the other Serpentines, led by Pythor, the last Anaconda.
Pythor.
Zane regained his memories, and Wu traveled to the Kingdom of Madness to find his brother Garmadon, who now had 4 arms to carry all the golden weapons. Garmadon helped the ninjas rescue Lloyd, and they learned that he was the Green Ninja. The snakes collected the 4 fang blades and used them to release the Great Devourer. Pythor was defeated by the Great Devourer, and the ninjas had to rely on Garmadon with golden weapons to defeat him. A little girl, along with her family, was captured by the Devourer's attack, and her parents died. She was then adopted into the loyal family and grew up to idolize Garmadon and hate ninjas. The girl's name was Harumi. After Garmadon destroyed the snake, he escaped with the weapons. Pythor was freed from the Devourer's stomach, and his scales were turned white by acid. The same acid began to seep underground. Garmadon took control of the snakes and took the golden weapons to the Golden Hills, where he put them all together to form the Mega Weapon. In the process, Lloyd was affected by an aging powder that aged him by several years. Garmadon travels back in time to prevent the ninjas from facing each other, but 4 ninjas follow him. The pursuit causes a Mega Weapon to be destroyed and Garmadon to be hurled into space, landing on a comet. Garmadon is revived by the poison of the Great Devourer.
Why did we just come to freaking Star Wars? What the hell?
And is dragged to Dark Island. The Overlord merges with Garmadon and grants him access to the Stone Army. Snake finds some stone warriors under the city of Ninjago, and the Great Devourer's poison awakens them. The warriors lock the snake underground and create chaos in the city. The ninja makes his way to Dark Island, finding Dr. Julian along the way. Garmadon creates a weapon using dark matter and uses it to plunge Ninjago into darkness. The Overlord completes his centuries-old plan and takes possession of Garmadon's body. However, Lloyd becomes the ultimate Spinjitzu master and defeats the Overlord using his golden powers. This causes the darkness inside Garmadon to disappear. After Ninjago is left in ruins, Cyrus Borg has the city rebuilt in a futuristic style. Borg Tower is built on the site where the Overlord was defeated, and a robot assistant named Pixel is also built. Dr. Julian passes away.
Pixel, isn't she like just like Jay?
Becomes more civilized by building a society in the Stone Warrior tomb and remains underground. Garmadon becomes a sensei, training his own students to fight without without fighting to atone for his evil deeds. The Borg Tower and the entire internet are affected with a virus containing the Overlord. The Overlord creates an army of robots to hunt down ninjas and take Lloyd's gold power. With the help of Pythor,
Fuck is the clank you're doing?
Golden Master prophecy begins. The Overlord gains enough power to assume a physical form, but Lloyd escapes and divides his power among the 4 ninjas. The Nindroids are sent to retrieve the golden weapons. They succeed, and the weapons are forged into golden armor, completing the prophecy. Zane sacrifices his life to defeat the Overlord.
No!
Learn that he has built himself a new body. The ninjas, separated after Zane's death, reunite to participate in a fighting tournament with the promise that Zane is alive. This tournament has been set up by Master Chen to bring together all the elemental masters to complete a spell that will transform him and his followers into Anachondri warriors. Chen is defeated by Garmadon, who is thrown into the cursed realm so that past Anachondri generals can appear and lead the imposters to the cursed realm. However, this opening causes Moro to reincarnate as a ghost and take over Lloyd's body. Cole is turned into a ghost by Sensei Yang, and Nia becomes the next water element master. When Nia unlocks her true potential, the ghost is defeated, and Moro helps her relationship with Master Wu. Later, after giving him the Realm Crystal, she goes to the bottom of the sea and dies. In the following season, Klaus manages to escape the destruction of the Cursed Realm and finds the teapot that Captain Soto used. He frees Natakan and is himself trapped inside the teapot. Natakan captures the Realm Crystal and uses it to find his crew. He travels to his home realm of ninjago, which he finds in the midst of annihilation. His father gives him the family sword, and Natakan uses it to imprison every ninja except Jay inside the sword. In Ninjago, he uses the power of the sword to rebuild Jinjago so he can marry Nia. Nia is able to gain immense power after being hit with the poison. Jay rewinds time to before the discovery of the teapot. Eventually, Jay and Nia become lovers. In the next season, Cole's existence...
Hell no, isn't that his sister? Yo, that's freaky as hell.
To Sensei Yang's temple to seek revenge. Yang revives statues of the ninjas' past enemies, and these enemies begin to take the place of the living. Moro warns Master Wu about what is happening to the statues, and they're all defeated by the ninjas. Cole flies through a rift and becomes human again. In the monastery, Wu waits for the time rift to reopen and Chronix to be freed. With Wu rapidly aging, the two fight, and Crux and Chronix are reunited. The Time Twins collect 3 time blades to power a time machine they're building called the Iron Doom. Ray and Maya
sick as hell.
Found by Kai, but Kai and Nia must collect the last time blade to stop Wu from aging. The Time Twins return to the past, escaping through a time rift with Kai, Nia, and Wu following them. However, the ninjas stop the Time Twins and use one of the blades to stop Wu from aging. In their final battle, Wu begins to age and turn into a baby. A year after Wu's disappearance, the ninjas continue to search for him while protecting Ninjago. Misako finds baby Wu, but the two are captured by Princess Harumi and her new motorcycle gang called the Sons of Garmadon. Harumi sends a robot named Mr. E to steal the Oni Mask of Vengeance. The Sons of Garmadon attack the royal palace and steal the Oni Mask of Deception, killing the royal family. Harumi hides her involvement from the ninjas. Lloyd finds the baby Master Wu, and Harumi finds the only mask of hatred in one of the only temples. Harumi reveals her hatred for the ninjas and escapes. She uses the mask to perform a ritual at the Temple of Betrayal to bring back the evil
what the hell?
The ninjas stop him, but Garmadon is reborn. Lloyd and Garmadon fight. Lloyd loses the battle and his powers. The ninjas manage to save him with the help of one of Wu's old friends. The ninjas try to stop Garmadon's gigantic giant, but they're almost crushed inside the ship. They use the Traveler's Tea to escape to another realm. Lloyd and Nia are left in Ninjago to fight Garmadon's forces, while Kai, Cole, Zane, Jay, and Wu...
Wait, Zane's back? Oh.
Realm. The 4 ninja and Wu are hunted by the Dragon Slayers led by the Iron Baron. They escape and go to find the dragon armor. They're chased to Oni territory and receive help from a former Dragon Slayer named Faith. It turns out that the only dragon left the realm long ago. The growing Wu is taken by the Iron Baron to retrieve the dragon armor. The first child of the Mother Dragon kills the Iron Baron and helps Wu and the ninjas return to Ninjago. While all this is happening, Garmadon grows stronger and sends the Sons of Garmadon to hunt Lloyd. Lloyd creates a resistance consisting of Nia, Pixel...
Yo, is that like nitro gloves from Fortnite?
Skylar, Dareth, Mistake, and other elemental masters. They sneak into Borg Tower and broadcast a message to the people of Ninjago to rise up and fight against Garmadon. However, they're followed to their hideout. Everyone is captured except Lloyd, Nia, Skylar, Dareth, and Mistake. Mistake reveals that he's an Oni sent to track down the first Spinjitzu master. Mistake is killed by Garmadon, but Skylar absorbs his powers and tries to use them against him. A contest for the giant results in Harumi being crushed to death under a building. Wu and the other ninjas return to Ninjago and reunite with everyone. Kai, Zane, and Jay are called to take care of the giant. Wu and Lloyd confront Garmadon and defeat him. Lloyd regains his powers while Garmadon loses them before being locked away. Garmadon tells Lloyd that something is coming. Lloyd later realizes that Garmadon was referring to the Oni in the land of moles. The Overlord makes a deal with Harumi and revives him. Harumi begins to receive the Stone of Vengeance from King Vangelis, a substance that can block elemental powers. The ninjas release Garmadon to help them stop the Oni. Garmadon regains his powers and, together with Lloyd, destroys the Crystal Realm. But these efforts were in vain as all the Oni had already arrived. As they flee, they use the golden armor worn by the Overlord to keep the Oni at bay. Kai transforms the golden armor back into golden weapons, and they all use the Tornado of Creation to defeat the Oni and Garmadon. In this season, Ninja discovers an ancient snake tomb with an adventurer named Clutch. The powers accidentally return to Earth, and the snake resurrects his army to seek the forbidden
I love this
Spinjitzu to take revenge on Wu by stealing Kai's powers. He manages to get one of the scrolls, but the ninja fights him using the second scroll. The snake tries to kill Wu before it's completely frozen, but Zane intervenes and is sent to the Netherrealm. Zane loses his memories and is manipulated by an outcast named Vex. Zane captures the Emperor of the Kingdom and turns all his men into Blizzard Samurai. Vex confronts the Formlings and offers them the chance to join the Ice Emperor, but they refuse. The Ice Emperor then returns and freezes everyone except a young girl named Akita. Wu tries to go to the land of nothingness himself to save Zane, but the ninjas go in his place. They're given food and shelter by the village and the Ice Emperor's tyranny. Lloyd decides to find Zane alone while the others stay to protect the village. Lloyd meets Akita, who wants revenge on the Ice Emperor. The entire village is frozen by the Ice Empress's dragon, but the ninjas are unaffected. Lloyd battles the Ice Emperor while Kai destroys the Ice Dragon after regaining his powers. Zane gets his memories back. Vex is then banished and the ninjas return to Ninjago. In the next season, a villain named Tinkerer tries to steal a motherboard and in Tinkerer's lair, they find an arcade machine in which Jay puts the motherboard. They physically enter the game known as Prime Empire, and each arcade machine transforms into Prime Empire, causing other people to enter as well. Kai, Cole, Nia, and Lloyd enter the game to save Jay and the other players. Meanwhile, Zane, Pixel, and Wu find the game's creator, Milton Dyer. The ninjas find Jay and are forced to face the game itself, Unagami, collecting 3 katana throughout the game. Everyone turns into cubes except Jay, and Jay is forced to face Unagami. The cubes are used to power a portal to the real world, and Unagami passes into the world. The other ninjas then manage to get out of the game, including the players trapped inside the game. In the next season, the ninjas are invited to Shintaro.
Are they like angels here?
Cole and Vanya discover dungeons beneath Shintara and
who the hell is
go
this?
down to investigate. They rescue some of the geckos and months and leave, but they manage to unite both species to face King Vangelis, known as the Skull Wizard. The ninjas' attack is not successful, and they're locked up. King Vangelis reveals his identity to Cole, Wu, and Vanya sends them to the deepest part of Shintaro. With the help of the adventurers Vangelis sent before releasing everyone, Cole confronts the Skull Mage, defeats him with a Spinjitzu blast, and Vangelis is imprisoned. Vanya is promoted to Queen of Shintaro as Vangelis' mining stops. In the process, Harumi is forced to smuggle the Stone of Vengeance through criminals. Using the criminals, Ronan tricks the inhabitants of Guardian Island and pretends to be Wojira, taking all their wealth. Misako, Wu, and Clutch powers travel to the undiscovered island and are captured by the Keepers. Later, the ninjas go to the island to rescue Wu, but are captured. On the island, Jay is planned to be sacrificed to the fake Wojira, but the ninjas realize the ruse and rescue Jay, capturing the criminals and Ronan. Meanwhile, in the oceans of Ninjago, Prince Kalmar discovers the Temple of Wojira and begins experimenting on the sleeping Wojira. These experiments cause Nia to lose control of her powers. The ninja investigate and discover Merlopia. Kalmar kills his father, takes the throne, and blames the attack on the ninjas. Kalmar's adopted brother, Benthamar, helps the ninjas escape, and they all fight Kalmar for the Storm Amulet.
He's adopted.
Manages to wake Wojira, and Ninjago is flooded. Kalmar's defeated by Wojira after losing control, and Nia sacrifices herself by becoming one with the not dead. Well, Jira is defeated, and the ninjas organize a search for Nia. The ninja return home, and Benthamar becomes king of Merlopia. As we move into the final season, the newly elected president forms his own ninja team in the absence of the ninjas. The new ninjas capture Pythor, and after investigating another shipment of the Stone of Vengeance, take on the old ninjas. Nia regains her memories and tries to find a way back to her friends. They escape from prison and absorb Nia's powers, successfully reuniting her with the sea. These actions lead to the imprisonment of the ninjas, while Pythor, Vangelis, Panic, and the rebuilt Mr. E, recruited by Harumi, form the Crystal King Council. Dareth and Nia break the ninja out of prison to investigate, but Lloyd is captured by Harumi. The council burns the monastery and steals the golden weapons to return the Overlord to his physical form. Lloyd escapes, but the Overlord sends the Stone Army to attack Ninjago. Almost everyone in Ninjago is turned into a crystal zombie, so the ninjas team up with Garmadon to gather as many people as they can, reaching out to anyone who can help. Lloyd and Garmadon confront the Overlord, who reveals the truth behind Garmadon's corruption. Harumi realizes that the Overlord is responsible for the death of her family and joins the fight against him. With the help of the ninjas, Shintaro, the Merlopians, the Islanders, and the Serpents, Harumi realizes that the Overlord is responsible for the death of her family and joins the fight against him. With the help of the ninjas, Shintaro, they fend off the zombies. Lloyd battles the Overlord, and the Overlord tries to control him. However, Lloyd escapes his evil ways and returns to his old self, discovering the pure goodness within him. Eventually, the ninja's power is transferred to a dragon, and through it, they defeat the Overlord and the Crystal Council. However, Kai, Cole, Jay, and Zane lose their powers and their golden weapons. This is the shortest way to tell you the story of the 15 seasons of Ninjago. There's also a series called Dragons Rising that is connected to the story, but I didn't tell you the story of that series because it's not complete yet. I've been working on this video for exactly 14 days, trying to understand and shorten the story, and I hope you like it. Don't forget to like the video for all my hard work. If you like my videos, please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in other videos. Bye!
Wow, that's a very good video. I actually think that. I think we have to end the video here. Bye-bye! Erroneo. Self-destruct.
Hey, this guy is kind of cringe.